What's up, guys? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to another vlog. More specifically, welcome back to the shop. My name is djwoopig. You already know that. And today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a custom dolly plate for your subwoofers or your speakers or whatever you want to have mobile. I'm going to show you how to do it. I had several people comment on a video of mine where I've made a dolly plate for my subwoofers. That way they roll in and out very easily. It doesn't take up as much space if you have like a rock and roller cart. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space on that, so you can essentially get everything in one trip. I'm going to show you how to make all that mobile, just because the more mobile you are, the faster you can get in and out of whatever venue you're trying to get to. Plus it makes it a lot easier for loading it into a trailer if you guys have a trailer. If you don't have a trailer, you can always stack this stuff inside of your van, car, whatever you have, and then put the dolly plate on the ground, put the subs on there, and get rolling whenever you get to your venue. Right now it is, I want to say it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me verify that. Right now it is 2:48 in the morning. I just got home from a stage union or stagehand gig. Like I said, entertainment is what I do full-time, aside from doing things like working for the local stagehand union, putting up and tearing down concerts and all that type of stuff. If you follow me on Snapchat, you probably already know that. I try to take you guys behind the scenes of all the stuff that I do that I think you guys would be interested in. I'm going to throw up just a few snaps that I was able to get of today's concert. It was Luke Bryan at the Verizon Arena right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Pretty good show, lots of cool stuff. Take a look. With all that stuff being said, let's go ahead and dive into making this dolly plate. I am so tired, but I want to get this done. I'm actually making this one for a friend of mine who's got those same EKX 18-inch subs that I have. He was so impressed with it, he wants me to make him one. So I want to show you guys how to make one so you can get moving as well. Let's take a look at the materials that you are going to need. I'm going to highlight the most important stuff, and then I'll tell you what's not really necessary that I've put on mine. It's totally optional, but I think it makes for a lot better card. Let's take a look. To get things started, of course, you're going to need your plywood. This here is going to be the base for the dolly plate. So I actually got this from Lowe's. I'm not that great of a carpenter, nor do I have a whole lot of power tools. They will cut this for you. It might cost you, I think, 25 cents for every cut that you get. So I got a piece of 4x8 decking, and then I had them cut this into a 25 by 25 square. That's going to give me plenty of room to put the sub in there and have an inch or two to spare once we get it on there. You're also going to need a 1x4 and a 2x4, and this might be stuff that you already have laying around your home or shed or shop or whatever. The 2x4 we're going to attach D-rings to, so we can put a ratchet strap over this guy, keep your load nice and secure. The 1x4, instead of using a 2x4 for all four corners, I just use a 1x4 to try to cut down on some weight and save some space. Speaking of those anchor points, these are the ones that you're going to need. I got these at Harbor Freight. They come in a 2-pack. They're like $2 or $3, pretty cheap. Like always, purchase links are gonna be down in the description, but these work out really well. Of course, you're gonna need various wood screws. I've got these that I bought for Harbor Freight as well, and then these came from Lowe's. You're gonna need T-nuts. T-nuts are what you're going to use to attach the casters to the very bottom base of the dolly plate. Typically, T-nuts come in 5/16. You're going to need 5/16 bolts and some lock washers. Your handy dandy casters. These are Coulson casters. They're 4-inch casters. What I like about these is they roll extremely well. Plus, you can replace these casters instead of buying a cheaper caster that the nut is riveted in in there, it's non-replaceable. You have to replace the entire structure of the caster. You know, if you go over some rocks or stuff over time, these wheels are going to get pretty ate up. You can replace these guys if you go with a higher quality caster. Straight edge, your drill, square spray paint. You can paint your caster board all black to keep it from showing the wood. I like to take it a little step further, and I use this stuff called Herculiner. This is a truck bed coating, and it will give this an ultra rugged texture on the outside. It's going to be able to get this thing, you can knock it into walls or drop it off your truck or whatever. It's not going to mess up the wood, and you're not going to have a lot of wood scarring. This here will make your dolly plate essentially waterproof, scratch proof, dent proof, whatever. I feel like this is the ultimate protection for this dolly plate. This truck bed coating stuff works fantastic. So I do have the base plate cut already. Like I said, I had Lowe's to cut that in a 25 by 25 square, so it's perfect because they cut it there in the store. What I do have to do is cut the sides. The sides is what's going to keep the subwoofer or speaker cabinet in the dolly plate at all times. It's not going to be able to tip over outside of that lip. So let's take it down to the ground, make our cuts, and then we'll come back once we get ready to screw it into the board. Alright, now that you have your two 2x4s cut for the two large sides, I would go ahead and fasten them at this point. That way, if you know you messed up, you still got, you know, you're in the early stage of planning and building this. Always be sure to pre-drill your holes. And by pre-drill, I mean before you put in a screw to the board, go through with a drill bit and drill that hole out first. That's going to keep your wood from splitting. Pre-drilling your holes makes the hole safer to screw into. And that way you don't have any mishaps. Alright, we've got one side done. We're just going to repeat the same for the other side. So at this point we've got both of our sides made. So we've got a two-sided shelf. Now it's not the most stable thing on the planet. Once we get our other two sides on there, it's really going to stiffen things up and make it a lot more sturdier. And you're just going to repeat the same process. You're going to measure from top to bottom out of the 1x4, and then you're going to cut and screw. This is the easiest part of it, and it's really not even that complicated. Like I said, I'm no carpenter, and this is just pretty easy stuff for me. So I'm going to go ahead and measure and cut that 1x4, get it screwed into place, and then we'll come back and we're practically halfway there. Space on my card, and I was feeling a little tired, so I just decided to call it quits. But where we left off last night, now we just have a big box. Once you have your 2x4s on one side, your 1x4s on the other side, you've got your wood base. This is what your speaker is going to sit inside of. If you're going to do the truck bed coating, that would be the next step. But since we're not going to do that on this project, we're going to go ahead and drill holes for the T-nuts. Alright, so what I've done here is I've just sat my casters on my dolly plate before I drill anything. What I want to do, it's not an exact science, but you want to make sure that whenever your caster is fully extended out, it's not overlapping any edge. The last thing you want to do is make it to where you can't push this thing flat up against a trailer wall. So what I've done is I've just taken my straight edge and went through and push it up against the edge on one side, push it up against the edge on the other, and that ensures that at any given time the wheel is completely inside of the wood and the wood is the furthest thing out. Now I'm going to go through with my Sharpie and mark my holes, and that way I know where I'm going to be drilling from. This time we're gonna go ahead and lay down some paint. I'm not gonna bore you guys with me painting this. You know how to spray paint. I would suggest if you're gonna go ahead and spray paint this unit, I would go with a higher end, more quality, more rugged spray paint. You can get spray paint, you can get roll-on paint, you can do the truck bed coating, whatever you want to do, but this is the time to do that. If you're gonna be spray painting like I'm gonna be spray painting, I just want you to be conscious of your surroundings. The one thing that, you know, spray paint, albeit it dries quick, it works good, you know, and there's good spray paints out there, there is some overspray issues. If there's wind or whatever, you know, it can take those paint particles and put it on the inside of your garage, on your car, on your trailer, on your equipment. So just get in a big open area, try to get the cars from being around close, that way you don't have to go through and clay bar your car and get that overspray off of. But now this is time to do that. So I'm going to show you the finished product right now. Because of that cool movie magic, I was able to get the caster plate painted. I did not paint the backside simply because it's going to be sitting 4 inches off the ground. Nobody's going to see it. We're in the home stretch of finishing up this build. The only thing we've got to do is put our T-nuts inside of the holes that we drilled out, and then attach the casters. It's really that simple. So this here is our T-nut. This is what they look like a little bit closer. I don't know if it's going to focus. This wide part right here, it is the base, and this is the head. So you're gonna put it base side down simply because it's got these little, is it gonna focus? It's got these little spikes. Those spikes are what grab onto the wood once you're tightening it down. So don't put this on the underside, otherwise you hit a bump and your wheel's just gonna fall off. You wanna put the caster nut or the T-nut down, base first, and then you're gonna pound it in with your rubber mallet or hammer. Once you have this done, sorry if it's a little loud, I have the fan on in the background, it's getting pretty warm today. Once you have this done, it's as easy as getting your casters and your lock washers and attaching them through the bottom to your caster board. These bolts are 1/2 inch, so I bought an adapter to put this on the drill bit just because it's going to make it go by a lot faster than cranking it down by hand. You're going to flip this dude over on its side. That way you have the holes exposed. Take your bolt, take your lock washer, and put on your casters. Alright guys, we officially have our dolly cart on wheels. The very last step that we're going to do today before we close this video out is attach our D-ring anchors. These anchors are going to go on the thickest side, on the 2x4 side. You're going to mount those, and then you can go over the top of your speakers. That way they're a little bit more stable riding in the trailer and going over bumps and hills and things of that nature. So I'm using a 1/4 inch drive along with some sheet metal screws, self-tappers, and you're probably thinking, well, why are you using self-tapping screws on wood? I just find that these don't pull out as much as like a wood screw would. I've had a lot better luck with these guys, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the drill bit again just because it makes things a lot easier, and then we'll be finished. Before we actually drill into this, I'm going to go ahead and try to measure, make sure we get it right smack dab in the middle, so you got some middle ground to stand on. And there's one of our D-ring anchors. Let's flip it over to the other side. So guys, that is it. This is our subwoofer dolly. Yes, this is the third shirt you've seen me in because it took me 3 days to shoot this video. Like I said in my YouTube return, I'm a lot busier now than I ever was when I had a full-time job, but it also gives me avenues to complete projects like this. I hope you guys will take this idea and maybe put your own twist on it, and have your load in and load out to go a lot quicker than having to carry subs or using your rock and roller cart 2 or 3 times, making 2 or 3 trips. If you've got an ingenious idea on how to transport some subs or bigger pieces of equipment, be sure to leave your comments down below in the comment section. I go through and try to read every one of them, try to respond to as many of you guys as possible. Hopefully here in the next few weeks I can complete a few more DIY ideas and share it with you guys. Also, I did not forget the shop tour as promised here. Hopefully in the next week or so will be uploaded. It'll go through and just kind of show you what all I've got, along with a gig log. I've actually attempted to shoot one the past 2 weekends, but it always seems like something has come up. Either I forgot to charge my camera batteries, I couldn't find my SD card, and then I shot one last week with this new microphone that I have, but I forgot to turn the mic on, so you couldn't hear anything I was saying. I will get it together, I promise you. Gig log coming here hopefully within the next 2 weeks. I do have a big wedding this weekend. It's actually a multicultural wedding. It's a girl from Mexico and a guy here from the States. They're getting married. So that should be pretty interesting. I'm going to be DJing alongside a mariachi band, which is pretty cool. Never done that before, so you'll get to experience that with me as well. So right now it is hot in my little hot box shop. I'm going to pack it up and go to the house. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave some comments, questions, concerns, all that stuff down below. Also, when you hit that subscribe button, be sure to turn on that bell. That will give you an update every time I post a video or I'm active on my channel. That way you're always the first to know. Social media links always down in the description, as well as purchase links for all of the materials used in today's video. Until next time, DJ Woopig, may the odds be ever in your favor. Later.